All right, lads, what's happening? Let's ride! Vroom, vroom!
Let's ride. Let's ride.
First of all, congratulations. How exciting.
My mind is still blown. I still can't believe it. It's not sunk in yet properly. Probably won't for a while, I don't think.
You need to check. You need to be doing shows. You need to be at DragCon.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, at least a 7th public appearance with the scepter. And then you go, actually, yeah, this is the life, isn't it? Yeah.
I bet if you asked like Jada Essence Hall and stuff, like she would say she still doesn't believe it. Because it's so weird.
Jada messaged me and she said, it never made sense to me and it still doesn't even feel real. So it's like a dream world.
Well, that actually is one of the questions I was going to ask. Like, who are you excited to meet? Who have you met? Like, who's DM'd you or tweeted at you and you're like, what the hell? You know, like, what's going on here?
I'm trying to think. Do you know, for me, I get really shocked when the American Ru girls contact me and stuff like this, because I'm a huge fan of the show, you know, and you know, when you hear that you know, Jada's messaged you or you know, Ginger Minge or people like that, I get like starstruck still. Bob the drag queen who won her season, it just blows my mind how supportive that whole group is, because you would think it's a competition, so you would think it's all competitive people out for each other, you know, whereas there is an actual family bubble there.
Yeah, I listened to the Chop, which is Latrice and Manila talking about UK, and they had Tia on, and Tia was like, I can't believe I'm on this, like that you guys know my name. Like it was a very heartwarming experience. I'm sure you'll be on there at some point, and I'll be excited to.
Someday.
And then you have to start getting everyone's makeup lines, and then, you know, all that stuff. Getting all the mail.
The struggle.
So part of the prize was that you get to come to LA and make a series. Have you been to LA? What do you want to do when you're here? And do you have like any sort of idea about what you would want to do?
That is a loaded question. No, I've never been to Hollywood before, never been to LA, never been to America, you know. So this is all very surreal to me, because like I hardly ever fly. Like I think the one family holiday where we flew, it was to Paris, and we were there for a weekend or something, you know. Well, it wasn't terribly extravagant, you know. And it's funny you say that, because there's a place in Edinburgh called Holyrood. Mm-hmm. Holyrood. So whenever, you know, someone says, are you excited to go to Hollywood? In like one sentence quite quickly, I'm like, Holyrood? Yeah, it's up the road. Yeah, whereas it's like Hollywood, this is the break, this is the moment. So I'm really excited. For the show, I have quite a lot of ideas, but I don't know kind of tonally what to go with. I don't know whether to go full out Lawrence Chaney humor, or do I, because I like the quality in myself where I'm able to be really personable and talk to people and connect with them one-on-one, and then we can have a laugh. No one's getting dragged or slagged off. It's all quite fun, and the reason it's fun is because you've gotten to know each other, and there's that kind of sense that you both get each other as people. So I don't know whether to focus on that as a kind of format or go full on like Lawrence Chaney craziness bagpipes. No, show. Don't know yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to do like Oprah? Do you want to do like a We're Here, or are you like a Vivian Baggage type of show? Who knows? We'll see, I guess.
Yes, coming soon.
So you mentioned on the show that winning would mean a great deal for the Scottish drag community. Can you how for someone who doesn't know, like, tell us about the Scottish drag community. Like, you know, watching UK, we've learned, oh, there's a lot more live singing in the UK if you're a US drag fan or whatever. Like, what's different about the Scottish community?
So the Scottish drag community, I would describe it as wacky, bizarre, and fabulous. And definitely wacky is the first thing, because I think it's partly to do with our sense of humour as Scottish people. We sort of unpack our problems in a very different way. You know, normally people would sit and, I'm really upset, I need time. Whereas so many Scottish people I know are like, I need to make jokes about it. You know, and I love that sense of, you know, we can laugh and get over something that's quite a hard time that you've just gone through, but we can have fun and make a laugh out of it. I think there's that. But when you mix it with drag, it becomes a sort of, because there's not a lot of money in the Scottish scene. I mean, over here, you're talking like one lip sync gig. If you're doing a lip sync, you know, performance, that's £15. Mm-hmm. You get, which is nothing, you know, not even a Rue Peter badge. You just get £15. So it's a really small amount of money. And you know, because we've got pound coins, there's not a big tipping culture either. So we all have to be quite crafty with how we create our performances and our looks. But what is so cool about the Scottish scene, wacky, bizarre, fabulous, is we kind of mix things that shouldn't go together but do. You know, so like silly Melissa McCarthy sound bites mixed with, you know, something from Disney mixed with a Charlie XCX song. And it becomes this really bizarre thrill ride of a kind of show. And it's a testament to the hustle of these drag queens in the community in Scotland and how hard they've worked just to get one performance off the road. You know, they've glue gunned something together and cut foam up and heat gunned it because they don't have a, you know, plaster sculptor to make armor. So it's a really creative scene.
Yeah, you and Ellie both came in knowing how to sew, able to make like costumes out the gate. Like you guys were, you know, knew how to do wigs, makeup, whatever. You guys were good in that respect. And also, like, it's not necessarily a skill that, like, a lot of younger people learn, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the cool thing. See, about my win in general, what I'm so proud of is it's a kind of testament to the older queens in my scene who taught me how to host, how to style hair, how to you know, deal with managers of bars and get them, you know, that kind of stuff. I am a true, fully formed drag queen from Scotland, raised by them, you know, and I even have a drag daughter now. So it's a kind of bizarre mindset to get your mind through, because what happens now, Drag Race has happened and one of the Scottish queens has won. What happens, in my opinion, I think it can only go up.
I agree. Maybe you'll start making £30 or whatever a gig. Not you, but like other, you know, you can share the wealth. Yes, people might start going to the shows and, you know, all that.
Yeah, exactly. Some for you.
So you talked on the show about being bullied, and you have had to take sort of a step back from some of your social media a little bit because people have a lot of thoughts. First of all, like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? And then, like, how have you sort of like had to deal with, like, how have you been sort of like protecting yourself?
Do you know, that's a great, do you know, everyone always asks the first question you've just said. They never ask, how do you keep yourself, you know, safe from it all? They're like, no, tell us the gossip. No, genuinely, the way I feel about the situation, I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. Personally, you know, and regardless of how hateful it is, I have opinions on hosts of TV shows or whatever. Like, we all are allowed to feel certain ways about people. That's fine. My problem was, I wasn't even on my mentions. And it was after one episode, I was scrolling. And then it was just like, Lawrence Chaney is a fat slut. And Lawrence Chaney is a fat this, fat that. And I just remember being like, what does me being fat have anything to do with, regardless of an argument, regardless of what happened in an episode, what actually does weight have as an issue in a argument? It doesn't. It's got no validity. It's an easy low punch. And luckily, so many of my friends reached out. So many people from BBC Three, World of Wonder reached out, and they said, this happens. Because I thought my career was over. I thought, one person thinks you're an evil bully. I thought, oh, I'm over. I'm cancelled. But they said, this happens. It's folk are just trying to vent. They're upset that their favourite didn't win a challenge or that their favourite went home. And it is just like a place where human beings pile their emotions on without thinking. So when I heard that from so many people, especially people in the industry that know RuPaul and all these people, I was able to kind of separate myself from that kind of public image. So that is my main way of mentally coping with it.